Back for another segment of EB's Real Talk. I'm here again with Mutawaf Shaheed. Black Studies. So I got the best information I've ever had with a white history teacher that taught one of the best Black Studies programs I've ever been involved in. And thus I can say the same thing about my children who goes to a mostly white school. The stuff they bring home, I'm fascinated even having a discussion about. Black Wall Street, talk about Rosewood, barely any talk about Harriet Tubman and things like that. When we talk about Black Studies, when you say Black Studies, what does that mean to you when you hear Black Studies?
Well, actually what happens is when you say Black Studies, it's really open-ended. You know, Black Studies of what? You know, we have so much history that you can't cover it in a month or, you know, a semester. Okay, so when I think of Black Studies, I think about Black economics and the lack thereof. I think about the prison systems. I think about not just slavery, but the ongoing effort dealing with that. I think about the military. All of these things concern black people, and black people are involved in all these things on the bottom of the totem pole in everything.
So Black Studies shouldn't be, I mean, I'm a sociologist.
Right.
So, and I always thought that I wanted to do Black Studies. I did.
Right.
But I found out how limited some things were because of that.
Right.
Right? There's limitations. Should there be a Black Studies program in every high school in America?
Sure, it should be. I mean, but the problem is...
And what's the benefit to white people for it being there?
Well, number one, the first thing that white people have to do, and I mean, the other people who run the white people and everybody else, they already know everything. They're extremely intelligent. Okay? They're just not, you know, all the way human. Okay? They are. Okay? But, you know, because you don't do the things to human beings that they cause other people to do.
Yeah, right.
And call yourself human.
Right.
You know, unless there's another definition to human that I missed. Okay? And that's possible. So when I think about that, the first thing that crosses my mind is that we have to have a comprehensive engagement in this educational piece about Black Studies, because you just can't say slavery is Black Studies, you know, reparations, Black revolts, you know, in the Americas. There have been so many different slave revolts in America, especially in the Florida, dealing with the Seminoles, because the slaves went and joined up with the Seminoles and they integrated, and they actually just ran the white people out from down there. You have to have a confession by people who have no intention on ever confessing to anything. These are the same people who are against reparations or anything else, that they did something wrong. If you not, it's like a person using drugs. If you don't come to terms with you're a junkie, that could be a junkie off of alcohol, tobacco, gambling, heroin, sex, theft. There's all kind of ways, all kind of addictions. If you don't come to terms with the fact that you have an addiction, that you're not looking to change. So if these people can't come to the terms that they did something wrong, okay, and they're not encouraged to admit that they've done anything wrong, they don't feel that they have done anything wrong. They don't feel by killing black children right now today is wrong. They don't believe sending you to the penitentiary without no proof is wrong. So if you're dealing with somebody who can justify every single thing that they've done, apologize for nothing, you understand, then how are you going to have a comprehensive course dealing with Black Studies, because black people have been affected across the entire spectrum of this country?
So it actually maybe should be called Black Studies. What we call that? Because, well, it is Black Studies. We talk about from slavery, pre-slavery, so it's Black Studies today, all the way through.
Today.
And it ought to be integrated in every American school.
Right. Also, if you give you an example. If you say, like, you're writing a proposal to a bank or to some financial institution, and the first thing they're going to ask you is, what experience have you had in baking? And you say, well, none. I really haven't had any experience in baking. Okay. well, why would we give you $500,000 to open up a bakery? And you'd say, well, you should just trust me. Okay, well, no, we can't do that because you don't have any experience. And okay, when we have financial forecasts are based on past things that happen in the financial market. Mm-hmm. So you can't forecast something without looking back at the past.
Okay.
All right. So in those two examples, there's no way in the world for me to go forward without saying, wait a minute, what happened when we tried this before? Where was the problem? Well, the problem was with the victim. The victim caused us to do what we did. But you don't take any responsibility? No. So how are you going to actually affect any change in a place where the people are not committing to the fact or admitting to the fact that they are the problem? So how are you going to solve a problem and you know what the problem is? They are the problem for the most part. Why? Because they haven't given you the opportunity to use your mind and your ability and your skill and your wit to advance. And they have no plans on doing it. Why? Because they're afraid of you. Why are they afraid of you? Because they know that this supremacist image that they are presenting about themselves is really not true. They know that.
What is true?
The fact is that you can outdo them if you were given the opportunity.
And why couldn't, what makes us, isn't that a supremacist thought?
No, that's equality. How is this supremacist? When you can do the same and outdo them in certain areas, you understand that, number one, when I came up, LSU, University of Alabama, Mississippi State, Tennessee State, Colorado State, all had white players. There were no black players on there. You got to remember, this is the 50s and the 60s, early 60s, late 50s. There were no black players on them teams, none. So what happens is, Sam the Bam Cunningham from out in the West Coast College got by John McKay, got there and they beat Alabama. He was the first black dude. What happened is, they asked Bear, said, well, Bear, what you going to do about that? They got this guy. Bear said, I'm going out and getting me some just like him. Okay? Now look at Alabama's team. Look at LSU's team. Look at Tennessee's team. You understand? Black quarterback, can't be no black quarterback. They don't think good enough. Oh, really? Look at that. So they start equating your athletic ability to your intellectual ability, and consequently what happens is, just like the white players were replaced by these black athletes, that this same black guy, you understand, could very easily replace them in the financial world and all these other markets because he's not dumb. You said he was dumb. You said he couldn't do this. And he just waited for you to say, okay, give me a chance. Put your best dude up there, man, and give me an opportunity. I'll crush him. And that's what happened. It crushed them.
Jimmy the Greek, years ago. Remember
That's who said it.
That's who said it, right?
That's who said it, and
why
they got mad at him.
Right. Why do you think they crushed him?
Because of the fact they shouldn't have. I didn't agree with what they did to him. I thought that was wrong. Because he was primed and educated like the rest of them to think. He just spoke what he thought was the truth.
And so do you think they corralled? So the fact is that they have corralled black, or found that black people are superior in their physical.
They know
being,
that
right?
They know that they can compete. That doesn't have to, because you got, it's like anything else. You got white athletes that are superior in certain things, and you got black athletes that are superior in certain things, and it's not something that should be criticized by either one of the two. But I'm saying that from the athletic viewpoint, that people look at you as a black athlete superior, that's what they're saying through their recruiting, through their all of these other things that they're doing. Here's the black quarterbacks. You got what? How many? 5 or 6, 7? I'm in the league now.
Yeah, but what you're saying is that the black are indeed superior.
I'm saying that in some areas they are.
So what?
And I'm saying that they're not necessarily superior, but I'm saying that in some areas they have proven that. And but what the threat is that what they think he is, in terms of superiority, they think that he is superior. Why would you try to keep somebody down if you didn't think that you know, if you got this philosophy that I'm the greatest,
Okay.
I'm the white man, I got all of this stuff going for me, you's a nigga, you ain't got nothing happening, you out of it. Okay, well, if that's the case, well, why you bothering me then, man? Okay, why you bothering me? But if I step into the arena with you, if I step into the financial markets with you, you already superior, so why would you care if I'm in there or not? If you know you're superior, no, you scared of me, boy. You understand? Because you have seen my ability when I'm free. You've seen it, okay? That's why you're not going to get the opportunity. Plus, racism comes in handy. It comes in handy because it's no different. Racism across any level is handy it's like a toolbox. You need a screwdriver, you reach in there and get them. Okay, what's the key word for the Manchurian Candidate? They used to call on the telephone and say, if you ever saw the movie, you understand, they call on the phone, they give him a key word. What's the key word? Muslim, nigga, terrorist. Okay, here's a guy sitting in the bar drinking a beer, reading a new sports page, and that's all they're going to read, is reading the sports page and the funny page, and then somebody says, nigga, Muslim, a terrorist, throws the paper down, they got a sign already made for him. He goes out, he is angry. When they say, okay, give him the keyword to calm down, they put the sign down, they go back in the bar, get his beer, and pick up a newspaper. That's what they do. Okay, it's keywords. Racism comes in handy. It keeps people divided. Tribalism, racism keeps people divided. In Africa, they don't look at each other. They weren't looking at each other as black people. They were looking at each other as tribes. So you take one tribe and pit it against this tribe, but they were all, the white people were all together. In their philosophy, they may have been mad at each other, calling each other whatever they may call them, but in reality, they're white, he's black. So you devise a way to keep them separated. Okay? Keep them separated economically, keep them separated by tribes, the Hutu and the Tutsi in Africa. Okay, do you think that they hate the white man worse than they hate the Hutus? I don't think so. Because the Hutus were the ones that were destroying them. Okay? So all of this righteousness about black people and all the rest of that, I don't want to even hear that. Okay? They just as foul as everybody else. Or they're not.
So what you're not saying is there's a thought I can just mention that and then you tell me if that's something you agree with, that we should have our own island, we should have our own community, we should have our own school, we should have our own elementary school, our own businesses, and just deal with each other. What do you think about that?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that that's the only alternative that you have. That's all I'm saying. Okay, to give you an example. Spike Lee did a movie called Red Wings, or Red Tails.
Red Tails.
All right. This is about American pilots, heroes. No white people went to see it. They're not going to support your stuff. There was a group they had two places. One up there on Van Aken, in the Van Aken Shopping Center. They had another one right there on Shaker, right up from Shaker Square, east of Shaker Square, and that used to be a rapid station, but they had a little place in there where they served food. I forgot the name of the company. I forgot the name of the company, but they was owned by black people. The white people thought that they just was working for some white people. They got in black enterprise. As soon as they got in black enterprise, that was the death knell. They were out of business. Because the white people stopped tracking them, going to them because it was owned by them. They are not going to support you. You understand? Unless you're making a mockery out of yourself. If you're going to be jabbo, jiggo, and all the rest of that stuff, they'll go see it all the time because what it does, it makes them feel good about themselves. Especially in lieu of the fact that you got LeBron James and you got all of these black people that they're cheering for. You understand? That don't sit well with them.
I thought it was actually cried. I can say I cried. I was very sad that when LeBron James left, they tore down the jersey. That didn't make me sad. What made me sad was that he came back and everything was okay then. That to me was stunning. But isn't that something? Isn't that always been repeated? Isn't that type of behavior based on some things we've already talked about? Isn't that repeated behavior, though? Is that behavior has been repeated over and over again?
The whole thing about it is that there was comparison made to the people on the slave block. You understand? They're showing their teeth, they're showing their physique, and all the rest of this. When the boxers go to weigh in, you understand, in the fight, they strip down just like that. Okay, their weight got to be this way. You understand? They in their drawers just like they were doing that, but they was naked during slavery. Also, that they were owned by somebody. And what LeBron James did was like, nobody don't own me, man. They don't like that. You understand? How you got the nerve to do that? Had Zagowski or somebody else done that, wouldn't have been no problem, man. Because they have the freedom to do that kind of stuff. You don't. You can't take that right. You're just being arrogant. You're being a smart ass. That's what they call you when you do that kind of stuff. And he's a businessman. And he was just transacting a business deal. And he went where he could get the best money. And he went where he could get a ring.
So in a sense, is LeBron a little bit about Muhammad Ali's? He was. I remember growing up that how my father liked the fact that he would say what's on his mind.
Right.
He knew how to play both sides.
Right. Sure.
But he did his own thing.
Right.
I'm not yet ready to give LeBron that credit for that. But do you think that some of the things he did in that move mimic that?
I think LeBron has got good counseling.
Okay.
Because he's too young to know all that.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think he has. I think he listens to his elders and the people who know. That's what I think was happening with him.
And your message to him at this point, right now, that he's at a ring and all the other things, is to don't stop thinking the way you think.
Right. Just keep doing what you want.
Just keep doing what you want to do.
Do what you want to do, man.
And anyone with that type of prestige that doesn't do that, what do you have to say
That's
about
their choice. Everything's a choice. That's their choice. If they want to be Colin Kaepernick, he didn't stand up for the national anthem. Some people did. That was his choice. And he's supposed to have that choice. But those kind of choices are not for you. Those choices are for somebody else. You don't have the choice. When I say you don't have the choice, there's consequences for you when you take what is supposed to be natural for you according to Constitution or whatever else. Now that's really a joke there. You understand? But the fact is that you don't have the same privileges and you don't have the same rights, no matter what anybody tells you, to do what they do. Yeah, and you should know that. People should know that by now.
Yeah.
This is not no revelation.
5 examples. Here's the thing. Five things I'll mention, and you talked about that. We don't have the same. So I'm not going to do the stories. I'll just say, you just mentioned one of them. Kneeling during the national anthem. People have always protested that somehow. White people have done that too, right? For different reasons.
Sure.
So you've already mentioned that example. What LeBron did was leave and he get, now he's an evil man, but he come back, they love him. So
Sure.
you already mentioned that. Do you think we can actually say to America without repercussions, we're no longer going to pay our taxes until you fund our schools?
No. You're going to go to penitentiary. You can do it if you want. But there's consequences. For everything you do, it's a sacrifice and a consequence for that sacrifice. Okay? The sacrifice that you make for fasting is that you don't eat. But the benefit is that your body is healthier. So if you decide that you're not going to pay your taxes, then you should be ready to go to prison. Because they've already made examples of people who didn't pay their taxes.
That's right.
You're going to
jail. You go to jail.
You're going to penitentiary. So if you believe in that to that extent and you're prepared to make that sacrifice, then okay, go on and
But
do
they
it.
like white people too for that.
They don't care.
You don't care.
Because it's not about they collect $2 trillion a year in taxes. You understand? That's not enough money for the overall agenda. Because $1 trillion of that or more has to go to the people at the very top that you don't see. That money goes up there. And the rest of the money, it goes for the other agendas. So when it gets down to you, you get $7 a month in food stamps. Okay?
Yes, right.
You understand? So, I don't want to leave this subject alone. This thing was not designed with you in mind except for kicking you in the behind. You may look up and get somebody may choose you and say, you know what, man, I like the way you think. You understand? We're going to give you a contract for $50 million. Chappelle, we giving you the $50 million college, but what we got to do, we got this play we want you to put a dress on. You know, now it was up to him.
That's funny. You thought that I was just going to bring that up.
They gonna give him $50 million, okay? So he didn't. The money wasn't worth it to him for his dignity. But somebody else, Flip Wilson, he didn't have no problem putting on a dress.
Flip Wilson and
many others. You understand? They didn't have a problem with it. So it's a person's choice. It depends on how you view the world. You know, what you're prepared to sacrifice in terms of your dignity or whatever else it is.
What do you say to the Jay-Z's and just stay with Jay-Z right now. What do you say to Jay-Z? When I say what do you say, what I'm asking in that phrase is, if I mention Jay-Z, and one of the reasons why I'm even breaking him up is because of the assumption of his money and assumption thereby power. What do you say to Jay-Z? If you sit across from Jay-Z right now, what opinion, what advice would you give Jay-Z?
I would tell him, I don't know nothing about you, man. So I don't have no comment until I learn about you. You understand? Because if you don't know something, you have to go learn about it, then come back and discuss it. So I don't know anything about Jay-Z. Only thing I know is rumors. And I don't know how much wealth he has. I don't know who he's screwing. I don't know.
It's supposed to be empowering and moving into that empowering mode. And so if you just say
if I knew that.
If you knew that,
okay.
You knew that he was doing some empowering, or he attempting to do that. Right?
Mm-hmm.
What would you say to him that would serve as great wisdom to him so that he can do that?
I was just telling him to make sure that whatever you committed to, that you prepared to suffer the downside if it happens. Based on history.
Based on history. Okay.
Based on history. That's all I'm saying. It's based. All of this is history based. I'm not making up something.
Right. It's all factual.
I can go point all of it out. It's all factual. This is what happens every single time a person begins to gain, a black man begins to gain power in the United States.
Bill Cosby.
Unless
Bill Cosby.
He's got a contract with somebody to say that here my soul is. Okay.
So mentioning Bill Cosby. Supposed to be one of the wealthiest men in Hollywood at the time.
Well, I understand that he gave money to Spelman.
Yes, lots of money.
Lots of money, and then as soon as they got as soon as the white man said, "Man, you did this," they gave him this. Give me back my money, man. Okay, you give him. You taking back this degree. All right, give me my money back. Since I'm so disgusting, and you don't like me, and I'm immoral, and all the rest of it. Give me my money back.
So those black colleges that are ran by those people you spoke about in another segment. You talked about those black people. The reason I brought him up because I actually talked about a couple of things you did. Is Bill Cosby was a philanthropist. He gave a lot of black colleges. He spoke about a lot of black causes. He started talking about black people should dress better, feel better.
Take my hat off to him.
And I was just really impressed. And right when I started really getting into him, these things happen. So you're saying that's the consequence.
That's the consequence.
That is a consequence.
If you get, you know what? What's this guy name? What's his name? He's a real right wing. Used to be with the Nixon White House. I think he was a speechwriter.
Became a preacher.
No,
not that one.
Not him.
Oh, mustache, bald head. Oh,
no,
speechwriter.
No,
I don't remember.
I can't think of his name now. But he said just recently that America was better off when black people knew their place. He ran for president one time. I can't think of his name right offhand. But that's what he said. And that's what they think. A certain mindset of them, the silent majority, think like him. Because he said he speaks for the silent majority. The ones who are not going to say anything, they don't want to get involved in the ruckus and all the rest of that kind of stuff.
And those are people we should have appealed to?
No.
Or we should try to work with?
No. All I'm saying is that those people are dying at a faster rate than anybody, any group in America. That group, between 55 and 65, that group of white people, blue-collar, uneducated white people, are dying faster than any other group in America. Black, white, Latino, anybody. That group of white people, at an accelerated rate. Okay? Plus, let me say this to you. Also, this is even a greater agenda, you know. Let me say this to you. We're sitting in a room. Okay, we've all talked before we come in this room. We're sitting down talking. Now I'm supposed to be talking about a certain thing, giving it to the con men, you understand, to put on TV. Okay. I'm giving this information so I can give it to the con men so we can put it on television, okay? Now, what's happening is there's a meeting before the meeting. Now the big meeting is like, listen, you know what kind of problem we're facing in the world today, don't you? Several. Well, what are you talking about in particular? Well, you know, I'm the head of some organization you never even heard of. Well, I'm the head of that, okay? And what we've determined, there's too many people in the world. We got to do something about this. Okay. All right, well, what are we going to do? Well, I don't know what you're going to do. But I'm just giving you this. This is our study. This is what we've come up with. Figure something out. Okay. Well, let me figure this out. Let me say, okay, we are a capitalist society. Okay, and we have trillions of dollars invested in gambling, prostitution, interest, alcohol, tobacco, the prostitution, multi billions, hundreds of billions of dollars invested in this. Okay, well, who stands in the way of these industries continuing? What do you mean? Well, people we see as reformers. The reformers are standing in the way. There's people telling people don't get drunk, don't gamble, don't buy prostitutes, don't get involved in interest, what we call riba. Don't just get. Well, where are you going to find these people? Well, what about the Muslims? They don't believe in none of that. Oh, okay then. So we could start there. Now, we always got the black people. We always got them. The police is taking care of them all the time. You're killing them every day. But that's not enough. We need to kill millions because there's too many people in the world. So the premise is that there are too many people in the world. So anything that you come up with to help diminish that population of the world, you understand, is acceptable. Okay? Give it to the drones. All they want to do is rape and murder anyway. Okay, give it to them. They'll take care of the rest of it. Okay, now we're reducing the population. And what population are reducing the population that would interfere with our programs of wealth. Okay, so we'll do it like this here. We get rid of them. Okay, how are we going to do it? Well, that's easy. The people are suckers anyway. They'll go for anything.
We just spread the you say racism is a tool.
Yeah, it's a tool. It's a tool. So you understand, and when you start looking around as a nation, you understand, every other nation on the face of the earth has been an enemy. Chinese, Japanese, the Russians, the British, the French, the Spanish, the South Africans, the Argentinians, you understand, the Puerto Ricans, everybody been an enemy. And it's always their fault. They did something, they were trying to challenge us, and it's like a football game. When they went into Iraq, when the troops went into Iraq, they were building up the Iraqi soldiers like, man, these some bad dudes, man. Man, these cats, they can stay in the desert, they ain't got to drink no water. Them some bad dudes. So you build it up like that, and then they go in there, they murder the people, kill them all, blow them up, kill them, women, children, everybody, just kill them. You understand? Then it comes about, it wasn't bad, man. We the dude, man. You understand? It's a game, man.
Yeah, genocide.
It's a game.
So if you said genocide of the day, we're gonna close out this segment because you didn't say the word, but it almost genocide.
Genocide. I say it now.
Genocide on the Muslims.
On anybody.
Genocide. Go ahead.
Muslims are just one factor. Mm-hmm. They lining the Chinese up now. Okay, they lining up them. Okay, it's genocide. The Pakistanis have an atomic weapon. Okay, so why are you in Pakistan? You understand? So it's game, man. It's cold-blooded game, and the thing is about the overall picture is reducing the population. So you come up with all these different things to reduce the population. That's what it is.
Well, the genocide actually is just a way of reducing the population.
Right.
Reducing the population.
9,000 Nazis was brought into the United States after World War II. You think all of them were scientists? No, they were social engineers, people who developed all of the genocidal stuff that took place there. You understand? 9,000 people, they took them in Austin, Texas. They brought them to Austin, Texas. This information came from a top rabbi. 9,000 people. Now, if you're laboring under the illusion that the American people right now are not the Germans of the 1930s, then you're crazy. I got a bridge I can say.
So make the statement on that, because
the people who are here in this country right now are no different than the German people in the 1930s. They are prepared to murder, slaughter, kill everything that they can get their hands on. If there's some aliens that exist, they better hope this cat don't find them, because they're going to rape them and kill them. That's how they function with anything they go. Rape, kill, rape, kill, rape, kill, rape, kill. That's the whole program. And that's just the bottom line. I mean, that's just the surface of it. But the bottom line is to go after wealth. You understand? And minerals and new technology and all the rest of that stuff. Because those are the dummies that do that. Because it takes that kind of subhuman mentality and behavior to carry that kind of stuff out. Okay? So that's
I want to thank you for coming.
You're welcome, my brother.
No, we don't totally agree with everything, but I can say this, that you give a lot of us something to think about, and that before we can disagree, we first got to do our own research. We can't, and when I say disagreement, in all due respect, I'm not saying I don't believe it didn't happen.
Right, sure.
But I see moments, and even in some things that's happened, to let me believe that everything you say has some truth in it. And so we all have a responsibility, whether white, black, purple, or green, to investigate what you're saying.
One more thing.
Yeah.
I'm just want to let everybody know, I'm not in the convincing business.
Right.
I'm not trying to convince anybody or anything. Right. I'm not looking for no followers or none of that. I just have some information I want to share. Believe it or you're not, that's your problem.
That's why you're here.
Right.
Because I believe, so if there are some of you who have opposing views, who have a view that is totally different, don't, criticize any of the people that we have in the rabbit hole. I bring them here so that we can have a conversation, because with the conversation we can empower the people, not just black people, but everybody that's up under this system. Is that correct?
Right.
Thank you, my brother, for showing up here. I appreciate you. The wisdom you give is great. There's been another episode of EB's Real Talk. Thank you, Uptown Media Ventures, and thank you, Mutawaf.
Thank you.
God bless you, brother.
Thanks for having me.
Hey there, brothers and sisters. This is E.B. Smith. Real Talk is me helping you by giving you information I know you will be inspired to be a greater you. And with a greater you, our communities are better and our world is better. But I want to reach more people. To do that, I need your help. Will you subscribe and share my videos? Tell everyone what we're talking about here on Real Talk. Another way to partner with me, donate $1. That's donating just $1. Go to PayPal and send ebsrealtalk@gmail.com. Go to PayPal, donate $1, send ebsrealtalk@gmail.com. Since we don't like the world we live in, let's change it together. Thank you. Writing a book can be daunting, but once you get past the daunting, there's always the cost of getting it published. And many times that usually holds people up from doing it. Uptown Publishing is offering supporters of EB's Real Talk a wonderful opportunity to have their books published for only $250. That's 75% of the regular standard publishing package price. You supply the book cover art, a synopsis of your book, and your pre-edited manuscript, and here's what you'll get. 100% control of your book, 100% profits from your book, and your own dashboard. That's $250, which is 75% of a regular standard price. 100% of control of your book, 100% of profits. If you're interested in it, go to uptownmediaventures.com. Go to uptownmediaventures.com and go to the Contact Us page and put in EB's Real Talk. Or mention EB's Real Talk via email at uptownliterary@gmail.com. That's uptownliterary@gmail.com. Congratulations to all of you to your future as an author.